Time for another episode of Council Bluffs Today, presented by Waldstein Plumbing. I am Todd Studer. Hey, look who's here. It's Mr. Luke Peterson.
Stingers up. How you guys doing today? Todd, how are you?
Activities Director at Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson High School. Are you not on vacation right now? It's July.
I took my vacation quite early this year. Early in June, went down to Florida for a couple of weeks with my wife and my dog, and got my daughter's house all set up down there. So it was a great time. Good time to be away. Missed a few baseball games and softball games, but had some people to back me up. So it worked out really well, though.
So if you took your dog, you probably drove then.
We did. Drove down and drove back. Went through Tennessee. May have stopped at a distillery along the way.
I've seen the sign. Yep. And actually, my brother was just here last weekend. He was up from Georgia.
Okay.
And he takes that same route.
Yep.
Because I'm sure you drove through Atlanta.
We did.
Getting down there. So yeah, he's on that same road, the same route that you took.
Yep.
And I've seen the distillery sign. I've never done it. I've never stopped.
It's when we were there, it was kind of tame. There was a lot of things shut down that particular day, but it was great because I didn't really want a lot of traffic anyway. So
when you do a long road trip like that, do you just keep plowing through? And typical guy, the GPS arrival time is a challenge.
Well, it is a little bit of a challenge, yeah. It was also we were up against a rental car as well. So, which my son works for Enterprise. So it was like, oh, if I get back a day earlier, I don't have to pay for that extra day or whatever it was. But a lot of times we'll plow through, but this time I think we took our time a little more. So it was nice just to relax, just disconnect, get the brain going back together again and get back into the swing. But I don't have vacation during the year at the school. I'm year round. So I don't take much other vacation other than that. So,
well, I wanted to touch base with you. We talked to you before the beginning of the year, last school year. And as you run the gambit and now students are out, how do you feel things went as you can take and reflect back on the year?
Year 4. It was year 4. Just super blessed. I mean, our kids are great. And I think that the advancements that we've taken in our programming and the things that we're offering our students and the things that we're giving them the opportunities to do better at that next level. One of the things that our focus was this year was youth programs, which I know as the AD at the high school, it's a little bit different. You think you're really zoned in on the high school, but we really need to focus on our youth programs coming up, our feeders, because in this day and age with NIL is the big thing with every, college athletics and even the pros, everything, that funnels down and parents and students see that. And we want to make sure that they start here, they play here, and they stay here. That's kind of been our motto that we've taken up. And with that, we really kind of reinvented what we call the Junior Jackets program. So that was a big thing this year that we did. And right now we've started with boys and girls basketball and volleyball. We'll be adding soccer to it. We'll be adding sports as we go. Baseball has started. He's only got one level right at the moment, but we're just going to keep building with it. So that was a big endeavor that we've done because there's a lot of paperwork to make it a 501c3 to make sure that you're doing it the right way. And that's what it's for. It's for the kids. It's not for us. It's to give them opportunities, again, that they may not have access to previously. But on the backside, we also want them, again, to start with us, to play with us, and stay with us. So that's kind of our motto, and that's what we built it on, and that's what we're going with.
Speaking of baseball, correct me if I'm wrong, had a bit of a signature win earlier this year.
Signature win, yeah. The late inning heroics beat the number 1 team in the state, Sioux City East. That's their only loss so far this season. So that's been a plus, bit of feather in Shea Patterson's cap. So hats off to them. They're still playing hard. They've had a couple things with pitching, some injuries go on, but that happens. But still grinding every day. They play tonight. Got a game tonight, at 7:30, trying to stay out of the heat a little bit, but under the lights, it's great. It's great atmosphere. Softball's been working hard. Same thing, just in those games, we start at 1:00 in the afternoon. We play 2 lower level games and then 2 varsity games. So 4 games on a hot, steamy day is nothing but fun for everybody, But the kids get out there and they do it, so they love it, and we want to keep them, engaged as much as we can with everything. So
I remember years ago, and I was broadcasting for KMA, and I got in there early to one of those games you're talking about. So I'm just kind of sitting in the stands and taking in the atmosphere, and the front actually came through. You could physically feel it, that it was a day, in the 90s, and then just all of a sudden this breeze hit, and it's in the 70s, just like that.
Yep.
collectively, the entire crowd went, oh.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
was-
And
that's the kind of thing you can get around
and it's
here.
funny, especially with our field being as close to the river as it is over there. Like you really start to feel that. And there's moments where it is. It's just like going to the opening of a cave or something. When
Mhm.
you feel that cool air, it's like, oh, and you just, it's like your dog in the backyard, like going, and it's great. It's phenomenal. So we love it over there. I mean, it's at the stadium, which is a great facility, and we're blessed to be able to use that. And it's kind of nice because a lot of the other schools that we play at, your softball and your baseball is not always kind of at the same location. They might be
Mhm.
like, a little ways apart. But it is nice because usually our softball teams get done before the baseball game gets done. So all the softball team then walks over to our baseball field and supports the boys as they're playing, and vice versa if we end first, if baseball ended first. So it's a great atmosphere over there, and we just love it over there. So it's
It's
great.
being in Iowa, it's kind of a strange situation, especially this time of year when you've got softball and baseball going on at the same time. They are regulated by different organizations.
Correct.
I can remember a time when we were getting some weather, and I don't remember which one it was. I think it was the baseball had to stop before the softball because they had different rules
Hmm.
about, can you see lightning or anything
Sure.
like that.
Sure.
So one is called for weather, the
Hmm.
other game's still going on because
Yeah,
they were side by side.
that probably had some people talking a little bit.
Yeah, a
I'm
little
sure.
bit.
And we generally now, I mean, there's rules set in place, but we all have lightning detectors on our phones, the systems that are there, and
Right.
the officials, the umpires, our athletic trainer, Amber, everybody's kind of on the same page with it. We go through a lot with soccer as well
Hmm.
at that time of the year. And it's just, you gotta wait it out. And sometimes you wait out longer than others. And sometimes you just got to reschedule and do it. But that's Western Iowa. You got to do what you got to do. You want to keep everybody safe. But yeah, I'm sure that day probably raised a few eyebrows as to why do they get to play? Why don't I
Right.
get, I'm sure.
I know that this is me preaching to the choir. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but success oftentimes starts here.
Hmm.
It doesn't start with physical ability. It
Hmm.
starts in a belief in a person, a young person believing in themselves, believing in the team. And I know you have worked tirelessly to bring that mentality to TJ. And we're seeing it. I mean, you don't get that beating the number one team in the state in
Hmm.
baseball. That those young men on that team had to believe that they could do it
Oh yeah.
before
Yeah.
it ever happened.
Yeah. I mean, it was a 16-15 win. Like it went
Yeah.
down to it kept going, kept going. And I think that that's the kind of tenacity and the kind of drive and the grit that we're really working toward with our kids to get them to understand what they can actually accomplish.
Mhm.
I think that's one of our big focuses over the last couple of years, and it's going to continue to be, is to get these young people to realize what they're capable of. Sometimes I don't know that they actually know. I mean, they might not realize it until they're in college or somewhere else or even beyond. But the sooner that we can get them to the point that says, "Hey, the hard work pays off, and I'm capable of doing much more," is really something that we're striving for. Because we see a lot of kids that you can call it self-esteem, you can call it a lot of different things, but it's on the low end, and they just don't think that the work is going to pay off, so they don't work very hard. But once you get that figured out, that work is going to pay off and you're going to see this, a lot of film work with every sport where you see the people that you're competing against, they're bigger, faster, stronger. Well, what was the end result of that activity, whatever it was? So the more that you can build on that to say, hey, I want to do that. I want to be successful like that. That's what we're shooting for. And I think we do. I think that across the board, it's getting better. It gets better every day. And of course, it's great because you have a new set of kids every year, right? So the junior jacket program is actually helping with that as well, because as an example, we're putting up a lot of social media stuff with boys and girls basketball, these youth leagues, and what they're doing in some of these summer programs that they're doing. And we have players of the games, and they're winning second and third and first place in some of these tournaments that they're playing in. So the earlier in their career that they start to see the success, the better. I mean, it works that same way in the classroom, right? It's kind of the same idea that I can do this. I can do algebra, or I can do, biology, whatever it is. So the more that we can build on that, the better. And it's going to help everybody and the community.
Are you looking for something to do close to home? Go Local Iowa brings Southwest Iowa events together in one place, from live music and fundraisers to festivals, family activities, and community celebrations. It's also a place to discover local businesses and support the people who keep our communities moving. Before you make your weekend plans, check golocaliowa.org. Go Local Iowa. Find what's happening right here at home. If you're looking for a laid-back spot with great food and even better company, it's the Mile Away on Old Lincoln Highway north of Council Bluffs. This family-run bar and grill is your go-to for mouth-watering wings, unbeatable weekly specials, and a welcoming atmosphere that feels like home. So, if you're catching a game, enjoying one of those specials, or just unwinding after a long day, the Mile Away has you covered. Open every day, Tuesday through Sunday at 8 for breakfast, and don't forget them at lunch and dinner time as well. It's the Mile Away, Old Lincoln Highway, north of Council Bluffs. Well, I've going back to my own time, and I think about the success that the basketball team that I was on had. It was a class ahead of me, by the way. It was really talented.
Yeah.
But I look at that team, and these guys are all now in their upper 50s, just like I am. And I look at the success across the board.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have a former state legislature in there, numerous bankers, a pastor of a church
Mm-hmm.
down in Lincoln, just everybody going on to achieve high levels of success in their chosen field.
Yep.
I credit our coach for putting a belief into us. And also his big thing was what he called PMA, positive mental attitude.
Okay.
You didn't respond negatively to something that happened out on the court. And that I know has helped me.
Yeah.
And not saying I don't ever get down or anything like that, but I turn around pretty quick with that.
And I think that's what the overall goal of any program is to build that inner drive for people that is not just going to be while they're in high school or while they're under your ceiling. It's for their life, right? We're preparing them for life, for the future. I mean, we want to obviously have students that leave TJ as better citizens, right? We want them to be well-rounded in a lot of different things and have interests that they're willing to do something about. And I think that we see it, again, now starting up year 5, you're seeing those graduates now graduating from college and knowing what they're going on to do. And it's amazing when you think of them as a freshman running through the hallway, like looking around, not knowing what's going to hit them next. And now they're going into med school or they're doing something else. And it gives you that moment to say, we prepared them for that. And we want to give them those opportunities, just like our D+1 program. That's what it is to get them to see different things in a way that they've probably never looked at it or even thought that it was a possibility. That's the other part of it, is that some kids just don't see it as a possibility. And we want them to say, guess what? If you're going to work for this and you want it, everything's a possibility. You can do it. You just need to have the opportunity given to you, some guidance to get through it, and always somebody there to back you up that you always can fall back on when you're down or when it's not working the way you want. And our coaches do that and our teachers do that. And that's what we really are proud of that at TJ.
And it's not always on the court or on the field or on the pitch or wherever it might be. You've got staff at a couple of students working a couple of fireworks stands right now as we got the 4th coming up.
Yeah. And that's something that for us, again, is a community piece where it's outside of your everyday. Like as an example, today, football was working out this morning. We're in the weight room doing their conditioning drills, their things. And then they were over across the street at the 10 on Broadway at the Hy-Vee at 9 a.m. after they got their workouts done to work in the stand with a couple of coaches. And that's our fundraiser for the year. We have 2 of them. We have the one there at Broadway Hy-Vee, but then also we have one out at Anchor Inn Bait and Tackle at Lake Manawa. And that one is our basketball teams in the Junior Jackets program. So those people, those parents, those coaches, those players, those students, that's what they're doing. And we have the funny thing about the one at Lake Manawa is, since it's Junior Jackets, again, you're seeing these kids that are in 7th, 8th grade working with the high school kids because they're coming into that. So we're building that connection, building that bridge to make that transition from middle school to high school even easier for them. Which I'm sure that you've probably heard about with the 8th graders playing high school sports that just came out from the state of Iowa. I mean, that's going to be a big key for certain athletes that are able to withstand the high school rigors of sport to be able to take it to the next level. And I think that we embrace the idea. And again, for us, it's that bridge and connection with the building and the community, the school community, but the greater Council Bluffs community as well. And I think it helps because anytime that we can do better, and you know this, it brings pride to the community. People are proud of it. You hear from a lot more alumni. You hear from people that are like, oh, I remember when. And that's when we bring the state championship trophies out from the past and you celebrate teams and those types of things. And it's great because people remember those times in addition to all the other things that have happened in their life, but they remember those times just like you do with that team as well.
Yeah. And the eighth grade thing is kind of interesting because it's been going on in baseball and softball forever.
Mm-hmm. It has.
You know,
It
back
has.
back when I was in school, I played varsity baseball before I entered high school.
Yep.
And kind of had to because I was the 10th guy on the team. So,
Yeah.
know, and we didn't have, because without me and my classmate Jimmy, they can't field a team.
Sure.
So,
And that's where a lot of it came from is obviously a lot of the smaller towns don't have the ability in the numbers that a 4A or 5A school would have.
Yeah.
So in that regard, that's there. But then there's also been those moments where there's some teams or there's some programs in your school that are struggling. And there might be some talent that, again, at a younger age, if that eighth grader is ready to take it, they're going to go through a tryout and they would be able to be a significant contributor to that team. We're going to give them a chance to do it. And that, again, builds that bridge. It's kind of a touchy thing, but that bridge, that transition from middle school to high school is a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say you lose kids, but sometimes you lose a little motivation because they get a little worried because it's going into the big high school and it's a big building and it's kind of intimidating. But the more that we can get them used to it, the more that we can get them comfortable with it, the better. And I think that for them, for the rest of the team, on the flip side, it kind of is interesting what the effect will be because we see it in baseball and in softball. If you've got an eighth grader coming up behind you and you're a 10th grader and they're threatening your position, it's like, well, you're either going to work harder because you know that you're better than the eighth grader coming in, or you're going to fold. Well, we don't want that fold to happen. We want you to work harder. We want everybody to work harder. So it's a lesson. It's just like in life, right? If somebody new comes to the company and they're gunning for your job, well, you got one of two ways to go. You can either just let them have it, or you can work to keep your position and keep getting better every day.
That is great advice. I think I'm going to take that and just kind of incorporate it into what I'm doing right now. That's pretty cool. Technology should work for you, not against you. At ThinkSpace IT, they provide expert IT solutions to keep your business running smoothly and securely. From cybersecurity and cloud services to network management and tech support, they simplify IT so you can focus on what matters most. Stay protected, stay connected, stay ahead. Visit ThinkSpaceIT.com. Council Bluffs Today is brought to you by Keith Jones, your Edward Jones financial advisor in Council Bluffs. Learn how he can help you reach your financial goals. Visit edwardjones.com for more. Edward Jones, member SIPC. How at the fireworks stands? Working up through the 4th? I mean, how's this going?
We are working up through the 4th.
Okay.
4th will be is always the busiest day.
Mm-hmm.
It is actually an amazing thing. Last year, the 4th, I was there until we closed that night, and I was, pardon the phrase, but blown away. It was amazing amount of fireworks that were going off, and people that live there obviously know, but the amount of people that came in that day to purchase was great. And we'll see, it'll be interesting to see because the 4th is on a Saturday.
Right.
So that's always a little bit different as well. So we'll see what happens, but it's just a great fundraiser for the school and great for the kids to be out there and doing something else and working and meeting people in the community. And people come in and you tell them, this is what your funds are going for. And, maybe they purchase a couple more things because it's for the school. So it's a win-win, we think. So last year we just had the one stand, but this year we added the other. So it's been going pretty well.
Before we wrap up today, Luke, new football coach at TJ.
Yes.
How do the numbers
Going
look?
great.
How's the attitude?
Numbers are going up.
Yeah.
He's at 80 plus for our players right now, which we've been in the high 60s for the last few years. Wow. So he's doing better with that. We've got great buy-in from them and basically a whole new coaching staff. There's a few coaches that have stayed on from the previous staff that are doing a great job with us. They're at the fireworks stand today, but doing great. Been watching the workouts. They're on the same page. He's correcting some, as he saw them, bad habits from the past. And, those bad habits sometimes take a while to develop. Well, they also take a while to break them down. So he's doing a great job. Ryan's doing really well with it. So we're looking forward to the season. Cross country's working hard. Girls tennis starts up here in just a couple weeks.
Wow.
So it gets busy in a hurry. There's not much of a break, but they're all working hard and doing their thing. They've been hitting the weight room. We've got new volleyball coach as well, new volleyball staff. So they've been in the gym working on stuff. And so we're excited. I mean, it's going to be a great 5th year. We're working forward to 26, 27. And success is in everything that we do, And again, it doesn't always equate to wins. Obviously, we want to win. Like, that's obviously a goal. But it goes a lot deeper than that. And I think at TJ, we really push that hard.
It absolutely does. I look back to some of the different things that I have played in over my life, and probably the most memorable game that I ever played in, we lost.
Mm-hmm.
But I played pretty well.
Uh-huh.
And it was the competition
Sure.
that was going on with that. And I can still, if I sit and I think about it, it was energizing. Yeah, but it wasn't about the win or the loss. It was about that journey through that game. And we played above our skill level.
Mm-hmm.
Still ended up losing, but that wasn't the goal.
Yeah.
And
we still talk about that. There's a lot of times where I'll get together with some friends either from high school or from college that I played on teams with. And there's a lot of games where you look back and you're just kind of reminiscing about things. And a lot of times it's losses.
Yeah.
Like, I learned something about myself in that loss, or I learned something about Todd or whoever it was. Yeah. And that's a big thing that I think that those are skills that they can apply to their life. Like, just because something happens to you that wasn't necessarily positive in your life, it doesn't mean that it's completely always a negative. You just got to learn from it. You got to build from it, pull the positive out of it as best you can, and move on.
Yeah.
Everybody deals with it. So
I think I told you this story before, that second high school track meet ever that I was at, I running the mile and I got caught at the tape and lost. That as a freshman, I never got out kicked again.
Mm-hmm.
Not a single time.
Yeah.
Much to the chagrin of my coach, because he said I was saving too much for the kick. But it never happened again.
Yeah.
And every time that I was on the track for the rest of my high school track career, I remembered that race when I was running the other ones.
Yeah. And I think that those are the moments, that coaches really try to capture a lot of times. Obviously, in the heat of the moment, a lot of times coaches might be a little upset about those things when they happen. But when they go back and they look at it, it's like, well, hey, this is what you could have done different, or this is what I want you to do next time. And like you said, it obviously worked for you because it never happened again. And that's the overall idea, is that you learn from those mistakes. And a lot of times it's not even mistakes. It's just something that occurred. You were doing your best, you were whatever it was, and something went wrong. But either way, it's learning from that stuff and moving forward and not dwelling on it. But that dwelling piece is a little different too, because you're not necessarily dwelling on it, but you're like, I'm never letting that happen again. It's always in the back of your head. Yeah. It's there, and that's what's pushing you. So we always try to find that with kids, like, hey, if that was a bad moment for you, let's just make sure it doesn't happen again. So
perfect.
Just keep pushing.
Grateful as always every time you come in. Look, we get a chance to talk. Looking forward to working with you through the school year and getting some more information out about all the excitement happening at TJ.
Absolutely. There's always something going on, so we'll keep everybody updated as best we can. So we always appreciate your support, Todd. It's great to hear from you and to just keep it moving forward. And year 5, here we come.
Here we come. Also, a big thank you to Therapy Place, one of our hometown sponsors. We thank them for supporting local media, and we thank you as well. Been nothing but wonderful and positive comments we've been receiving, and we can tell that the shows are becoming more and more popular, and that's because all the hard work. When I ask you to share or like or follow any of these shows, you're doing that, and it is helping. So thank you so much for that in advance. So, no show tomorrow. I'm taking the 3rd off because it's July 4th.
Good for you.
So we're not going to have a show tomorrow, but we'll be back on Monday with a brand new program on Council Bluffs today. So I'm Todd Studer. We'll see you then.